Yaakov, you washed all the dishes?
Yeah, Baruch Hashem. This was an easy cleanup this week. Thank you very much. And this was the last hurrah. This is the last week, I guess.
You got it.
Okay, Chafam and Beis towards the bottom. Amr Abzer, 4 lines from the bottom. This is Chafam and Beis. So we're talking about the issues about Kiddush HaChodesh, and we spoke about Chaser and Malay. And here the Gemara has a point about when there's 2 days Yantif, in places where the Asfekis, where the Shluchim didn't get there. Amr Rabbi Zera, Amr Rav Nachman, Kol Sfeik Ala Kamesh Adinan. Every suffix we have, it's always a suffix, a forward suffix, which means when we make Yantif, like say people in Chosla, it's Yantif Sheni. So they do, let's say the 15th of Tishrei, whatever it comes out. And they also, the next day, the 16th, also the Choshesh, maybe the previous month, they made an extended month, they made a 30-day month, and therefore what they thought was the 15th is really the 14th, and what they call the 16th is really the 15th. So they do the 15th and 16th, maybe the 16th is really the 15th. That you have a suffix forward, that you make what you call 15, 16, you choshish both of those days might have been the 15th. But like the more explains, the member, the Chameser v'Shetzer Avdinan or Beis Alav Dinan. The suffix is going to be 15, 16. It's not going to be 14. Means there's no suffix in Chutz La'aretz when they have 2 days of Yantif, a place where they didn't hear the news of when the Rosh Chodesh was. So they don't have a doubt that maybe what they think is 14 is really 15, which the Gemara explains that you might have thought that that's also a suffix. Maybe the past 2 months that they had counted, let's say one is 30, one is 29. Maybe both of them were 29. If the past 2 months were really 29 and they counted them as 30, so it could be that what they call 14 is really 15. Usually they would count 130, 129. One is 30, one is 29. So the way we do it, make the suffix is, even though you count from 29, let's say Elul will say that Av was 30 and Elul was 29, and now you have Tishrei and you think that is the 15th. Maybe Elul was really 30, and what you think is the 15th is still a day behind, and the 16th is probably the 15th. Maybe you have to be choshish that both Av and Elul, both of them were 29, and what you're calling the 14th is really the 15th. Does that make sense? And my calculation's good. That if they had made they made 2 months in a row, that should be only 29 days. And you thought that one was 30, one was 29. So what you're going to call,
You call 15 will be 14.
was really 14. So maybe what you call 15 is really, that's the other way. That's saying you have to have another day. The more seems to be saying that what we call 14 might really be 15. Yes, that's true. Because if the past 2 months were really, they made it chassid, they made 29, so then the real calendar would be ahead of us. If we let's say,
I see. Yeah.
they thought that as a 30 and Avinello was 30 and 29, really was 29 and 29. So the real calendar would be really ahead of us. So you might be choshish that the 14th, but you call the 14th is really the 15th already. That the Gemara says you're not choshish for. Let's see the Gemara inside. The Gemara says, if Nachman says every suffix is always forward, which means which means to say that the suffix that you always do is 15 and 16. But you think is 16, maybe it's really 15. So you make 2 days yantiv. But our base of dinan. You're not choshish that what we call the 14th. I mean to say people in Chutz La'aretz. Somebody in Chutz La'aretz is going to say on the 14th, you have to be choshish. The 14th is really maybe really the 15th. No, you're not choshish. And the Gemara says, why not? Maybe you have to be choshish. The 14th is really the 15th. Maybe that in reality they made 2 months in a row. Av and Elul, both of them they made to be 29 days. So the real calendar is ahead. And maybe what people in Chutz La'aretz think is the 14th, maybe it's really the 15th already. Why in Chutz La'aretz don't have to be choshish for that suffix also and make the suffix maybe the 14th is also yantiv? And that the Gemara says on the top of the next page, if there be 2 months in a row that both of them will be 29, that would be like a big news, and the news would travel very fast. Rashi says even to a place which the shluchim don't get to, means we're going to talk about that. We said before that the shluchim go out, that once Beis Din made the month, decided which day is Rosh Chodesh, so they send out shluchim, and those days first, by horseback, whatever it might be, and then we'll see later on there became some confusion, so therefore they had to do it, will make you fire this. We'll see eventually, but there was a time when they went by shluchim, and even in a place where the shluchim didn't get, and they don't know which is the Rosh Chodesh, but you don't have to be choshish for 2 months in a row that were made 29 days, because that is very big. It would have been a big news, and everyone would have heard about it, even past the place where the shluchim get. So that's the halacha. Then chutz la'aretz, they only have a suffix of 15, 16. That's what they do. Every Yontif Sheni and chutz la'aretz, they make that the 16th is maybe the 15th, and again also after that, at the end of Yontif also, maybe the 22nd is maybe the 21st.
Same as the 15th, 16th. So it's like,
End of the Yontif also, every day they're off by one day, but they never choshish that maybe there were two chaserim in a row, because they never had that was like a big, if they did such thing, it would be a big news, everybody would know about it.
Excuse me,
Next one, yes, please.
I don't understand when it says Lamemer de Chamesa.
What is that?
What's the case of the 15th that they would have a chashash?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
What is the case where they would have the 15th be a chashash? You talked about the 16th. But what
15
about
is, no, what does it mean? 15 is the way it's supposed to be. They're counting when is going to be Sukkot. So they say 15 of Tishrei. They assume that Av was 30 days, Elul was 29 days, and then they count the next day to be Rosh Chodesh, Tishrei, Rosh Hashanah, 2, 3, 4, 5. They get until 15. 15 is Sukkot. So the question is, maybe they don't know. Maybe really Elul was 30 days, and what they thought is the 14th is really they're going too fast. The real calendar is they're going to the real calendar
it's
is
slow? Right, the 15th will be the 14th.
and the 16th is really what they call the 16th. That's what the 15th is. That's what they do in Chutz La'aretz. They make that what they call the 16th. Maybe it's really the 15th. That's what happens in Chutz La'aretz, right?
Why does it say the 15th and the 16th? I'm still not getting it. The Gemara says 15. The Gemara says there's two cases. It says 15 and 16.
That's not two cases. That's one case. That's the case that every Chutz La'aretz person, when he wants to know when the Sukkot is, so he marks on his calendar the 15th and the 16th. Both of them have to keep Sukkot. The first day of Sukkot. Why?
And
Because
to keep the first 2 days of Sukkot, I see.
there's only one day of Sukkot. The 15th, the 16th, the 15th is the day of Sukkot. 16 is already Chol HaMoed. But he put on his calendar that the 16 also have to keep Yontif again.
Yeah.
Same, yeah. But the point is to say that the suffix is only a 48-hour suffix. It's not going to be another day. It's not going to be 72 days. It's not going to be three.
You don't have to worry that it would be the 14th and the 15th.
Right. We don't make that the 14th and the 15th on his calendar is going to be maybe it's really the 15th because the past 2 months were officially 29 days and Sukkot or Pesach came out what he calls the 14th. That's not Choshesh for. And that's what happens in Mice and Chutz La'aretz, that what do they do to make Yontif? What that says on their calendar, 15 and 16, they make both of them should be Yontif, but they don't make what it says on their calendar, 14, that they're not Choshesh for. Is that good?
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, top line. Levi, this is about Yom Kippur, and it talks about a Choshesh for 2 days of Yom Kippur. The same way we're Choshesh for 2 days of everything, so the same logic would say to be Choshesh for that also. But so Rosh Hashanah we are. Rosh Hashanah we do like to it.
Too, but not that one is a different day. Other base Tishrei.
That's a different reason we talk about in Maseches Beitza already. How come it's considered, first of all, even in Israel, you have 2 days because they didn't know in Israel also when Rosh Hashanah is going to be, and there's a din that they make it Yom HaRichta because of Mincha Lamala. That's already a complication. But just about Yantif, we do keep 2 days of Rosh Hashanah. Yom Kippur, you don't keep 2 days of Yom Kippur, which the Gemara is going to talk about, obviously, because it's too hard to fast, 48-hour fast. But the Gemara talks about, and therefore they're allowed to be somech in Chutz La'aretz that usually Elul is 29, and you're allowed to assume when Yom Kippur is, even though there's a possibility once in a while they were Ma'aber Elul and they're going to be a day off. You don't have to be Choshesh. Here the Gemara says, top line, Levi Yikla Babel B'Chatzer B'Tishrei. Levi came to Babel on the 11th of Tishrei, and he said, you should know today's Yom Kippur. What you think is the 11th of Tishrei, it's really, you should know that they were Ma'aber in Eretz Yisrael. It was an exception to the rule. And what you think is the 11th of Tishrei, you're already building your sukkah. You should know today's Yom Kippur. Omar, and he said it in a very poetic way, Basim Tavshila de Bavloi B'Yom Rabbah de Marabba. The food tastes very good in Bavel on Yom Kippur, Eretz Yisrael. Like you should know it's Yom Kippur today. You're all eating delicacies. Levi was keeping Yom Kippur, and he said, "What's everybody doing over here?" They were all. The question might be, how did he get there? How did he get from Eretz Yisrael to Bavel in 11 days? That's maybe a kasha, but let's leave it alone. Levi knew that it was really supposed to be Yom Kippur, and they counted it the 11th day. Unrelated, people told him, Asid, testify, means if you take testimony that you know the fact that it was made extra day in Elul, so we'll listen to you, we'll keep Yom Kippur today. I didn't hear Bezdin being Mekadesh the next day. It means I knew that was a plan, and I knew that they made a 30-day Elul and the next day was going to be Rosh Hashanah, but it wasn't there when they actually were Makadesh it on the 31st day, so to speak, that they made to be Rosh Hashanah. I wasn't there, and we're going to see the Gemara Namad Beis that Nisan and Tishri have a special halacha that you have to hear from the Beis Din that they actually consecrated the day of Rosh Chodesh, and here the Gemara is saying that you don't have to believe me. I have, even though I'm telling you, but halachically you don't have to believe me because there's something special about Rosh Chodesh, Nisan and Tishrei that you don't say the news over only if you heard Beis Din actually consecrating the day of Rosh Chodesh, and I didn't hear. I knew I was leaving, and I knew that the next day is going to be it wasn't going to be a 29-day month; it's going to be a 30-day month. But I didn't actually hear from the Beis Din, so therefore you don't have to trust me.
Then we said it usually had Elul is 29 days.
Yeah, we said it many times, but we said here it says that there's an exception. Sometimes it happens. The Gemara says sometimes it could be. As a rule, Elul is 29, and our calendar is that way. It's always 29. But in those days, that the Mekadesh HaPiriyah, there could be an exception, like the Gemara said, Yarkaya, Messiah, that they could because that it shouldn't come out Yom Kippur in 2 days. So there were some times that they made Elul Shavim Ober. Levi said he knew the fact was over there that Elul was 30 days, but he didn't hear them say so therefore they don't have to trust him. But the Maisi says that they were eating, the food was delicious on Yom Kippur. Next point. Here the Gemara says that's a little introduction. What happens on Rosh Chodesh, Nisan, and Rosh Chodesh Tishrei? As soon as the Beis Din consecrates which day is Rosh Chodesh, so they send the shluchim out. People should start running. The runners, they start going to spread the news as far as they can get, and they go as long as they can get until Sukkot and until Pesach. It comes out, but the runners, they get further by Pesach than they get by Sukkot because they run the whole weekday besides Shabbos and Yantif. So on Pesach, they just can't go, have to stop by Shabbosim. They start with Chodesh Nisan and they go until Pesach besides Shabbos. But by Tishrei, they have to stop for Rosh Hashanah. They can't go on Rosh Hashanah because it's Rosh Hashanah. And also Yom Kippur, they can't go, so besides the Shabbos. So they don't get as far, the runners of the Shluchei Tishrei don't get as far as the Shluchei Nisan could get. The Shluchei Nisan could get further. So now you might think that Nisan is Nisan, Tishrei is Tishrei. If you got the news, you got the news. So in the Sukkot, there are places that on Sukkot they have to keep 2 days Sukkot, but they don't have to keep 2 days Pesach because when Nisan came, they got the news and they know when Rosh Chodesh really is. But the same place, the same city, when it's going to come Tishrei, they're not going to get the news because the runners were held up by Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur.
It's really fine. It's a very fine.
There's a certain. There's going to be 2 days of travel. It's a long place, long place.
They time it exactly, but they get there.
What do they have to do with timing? They run as fast as they can. So on Yom Kippur, on Sukkot, and Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah, they have to stop. They can't run on those days. So some might be maybe 3 days, and therefore the people there's a 3-day traveling of that's a lot, miles and miles and miles that they're going to know about Pesach when the right day of Pesach is supposed to be, but they're not going to know when the right day of Sukkot is supposed to be. As far as they can go until Pesach and Sukkot.
But my question is, are they to get to certain places? They still putting the fires up?
No fires. There's no fires. We're talking about Beis Din is Mekadesh Chodesh, and they go on a horseback and they start running, and they say Rosh Chodesh is the Rosh Chodesh is yes. Yeah, as far as they can go. Yeah, that's that. Now it comes out, and they go past Israel. The Gemara is going to say soon they go to Syria. They get to in 10 days travel on Tishrei. They get 10 days travel. Is that true? They get 10 days travel. Take away Rosh Hashanah and Shabbos and Yom Kippur, they get 10 days of travel until Sukkot, and they get until Syria. They go out of Eretz Yisrael also if they could. Why Dafka stop by Eretz Yisrael? They get as far as the Gemara says. They went to Syria. We'll see on Amud Beis. But
You're saying Chodesh is, but it would be was, right? Or you're saying
right. They say what today's date is. They'll say what today's date is. As they're going, they're saying what today. Rosh Chodesh was declared wasn't so and so. Last month was a 29 or a 30. They'll say what the date is today, and they keep on running as they go to city to city. But in Tishrei, they only can get 10 days travel. In Nisan, they can get approximately 12 days. They can go further. So here, the Gemara is going to say that even though theoretically they should be able to keep 1 day Pesach and 2 days Sukkot. On Pesach, they find out when the real date is. So why should they keep 2 days Pesach? But Sukkot, they can't find out, so they're going to have to keep 2 days Sukkot. The Gemara is going to say, we're going to make Xera, that if they're going to keep 1 day Pesach, they're going to keep 1 day Sukkot also. That's what the Gemara is going to say now. Machas Rabbi Yochanan announced, he declared, any place where the Shluchim of Nisan reached, but the Shluchim of Tishrei don't reach, as we said, because they can't travel on Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah. So, Levdu Trei Yomi, they have to make 2 days even on Pesach. Even on Pesach, even though they know what the real Pesach is, they also have to make 2 days. Xera and Nisan are 2 days, right? Because Xera, if they're going to keep 1 day Pesach, they're going to keep 1 day Sukkot. It doesn't make a difference if it's Yisrael or not. We're talking about the difference of travel between the runners of Tishrei and the runners of Nisan. It doesn't make a difference. It's probably out of,
Just let me ask you a question. If the
I think it's out
runners-
of, by the way, I think it's out of Eretz Yisrael because 10 days travel gets to Syria. So then what they can go further, that's even past Eretz Yisrael,
So generally, everybody in Israel is technically supposed to know that.
which is the right day.
What's the right day?
So the runners can't make, the shluchim cannot make shluchim. They have to go themselves because they're the.
What does help to make shluchim? They're as best as anybody. Why is the other shluchim better than them?
Because that's like a tag team.
They
Fresh
could.
fresh runners.
They could. Why not? Why do you say that?
Yeah.
I mean, okay, it doesn't say anything.
It says that the shluchim bezdin, and so I know shlichin always a shlich, right?
I don't know, but that's not here. You don't say anything more here that you know like that. And I'm not based on this.
Let me say this year,
What is that?
wouldn't most of these questions be solved if you just let the Rebbe say this year?
I'm not sure. Rabbi Ivu, Bar Nagri, Rabbi Chia Bar Abba, I think I said this year and it's not going to be answered. This is side I don't know. The Gemara says, Rabbi Ivu, Bar Nagri, Rabbi Chia Bar Abba, Iklu Lahu Asra, they have a Matu Shluch, Nisan for the Matu Shluch at Tishrei. Abdu Chad Yoma. These two Talmidim are Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Ivu Bar Nagri, and Rabbi Chia Bar Abba. The first one we're not so familiar with. The second one is very common. Rabbi Chia Bar Abba. They came to a place where it was in this question that Shluchei Nisan would have reached there, but the Shluchei Tishrei did not reach there, and only made one day of Pesach because they said we know. And V'amu Lahu V'lo Midi. And these Talmidim, they didn't say you're doing wrong. They didn't say you have to keep 2 days of Pesach. Shami Rabbi Yochanan Bikmed. Rabbi Yochanan heard that they didn't protest, and he was angry at the Talmidim. He said you should have told them. Amalu Lav Ami Lahu Hechad Matu Shluchei Nisan Matu Shluchei Tishrei Lav Ditrei Yom Gzeu Nisan to Tishrei. Didn't I tell you that a place where the Shluchei Nisan do get to, but the Shluchei Tishrei don't get to, so they're supposed to make 2 days even on Pesach because of Gzeira. That's the end of the halacha. That's the end of the story. That's the halacha. Even a place where the Shluchei Tishrei, a place where the Shluchei Nisan could have gotten to, but the Shluchei Tishrei did not get there, so they have to keep 2 days, even though they do know when Pesach is. The mice after this Gemara is over, there's no reason to continue running. Why should they continue running in Nisan? If anyway, they're going to have to keep 2 days anyway. Maybe it's just comfortable to know which is the real day, but the Gemara say that doesn't help you. Even if you know the right day, you still have to keep 2 days because in Tishrei you're not going to know the right day, and you're going to don't make a mistake and keep only 1 day Sukkot. Keep 2 days Sukkot, keep 2 days Pesach.
There's no reason to go to
Still have to know when the 15th,
Story is Shluchei Tishrei. The
It would-
Shluchei could have gotten further.
you have to know when the 15th is, right?
Yes, please. I'm sorry.
You have to know when the 15th is, but I had another question about when it says Atu, they made a Gezerah Atu Tishrei. Is that the same as a low plug? Like they want to make a Gezerah, it's going to be the same for everything?
You could call that a low plug. Low plug means low plug is maybe a little different expression, but it means Xera. It means Xera. Xera means that if maybe that's included in a low plug. I'm not sure. That's already like a fine question.
Like,
But
like on Shabbos, I wouldn't come to tune a piano, but I would come to tune a guitar. But there's low plug. So I shouldn't play piano on Shabbos either.
good. Okay. Good. Good.
okay.
So here the Gemara says that even if they do know when the real Pesach is, but it's not going to help them because since they don't know when the real Sukkot is, so they have to keep 2 days Pesach also, and that's how we paskin. So if you, okay, fine. Paskening again nowadays the Chutz means the places, which are the places that have to have the minhag of Hussein. It means that in Chutz nowadays they know as much as Eretz Yisrael knows. They still keep 2 days because minhag of Hussein b'yadayim. Which places? The places when they had shluchim that they would not have known when is the right day. So Shluchei Tishrei is the Kovea. The one that establishes the criteria is as far as the Shluchim could have gotten in Tishrei. The fact they could have gotten there in Nisan is not good enough. Agav, the Rambam says that Shavuos is also in the same thing, because Shavuos, everyone knows when Shavuos is because it's 50 days after Pesach. They surely can find out when Pesach is by the time Shavuos comes. So, but they also says the same thing, that the Gzeira Shavuos are that since they have to have 2 days of Sukkot, you have to have two days of Shavuos also. So even though there are some times that they could have found out certain Yom Tovim, but it's a place which didn't get all the Yom Tovim 1 day, they're not 1 dayers, so they have to keep everything 2 days.
Which is why everywhere in Chutz they keep 2 days, no matter where and what.
Right. The Gemara says a story now again about Yom Kippur. Rabbi used to keep Yom Kippur for 48 hours because he don't have to. The Gemara says you don't have to because it's very hard. Then you can be somebody forced to fast 48 days, 48 hours, and you can be someone on the road that usually Elul is 29 days, but he was machmir. One time he was right. One time it came out that they really were ma'aber Elul, and it came out that what people thought was the 11th of Tishrei really was the 10th of Tishrei, and he got it right. And he was machmir, so his chomer helped him out one time. Rabbi Hananel says you don't have to, and he says even that he seems to say, I'm not sure. Rabbi Hananel seems to say that it's not even praiseworthy. I'm not sure. Like the Gemara seems to say that one time he got it right, but he seems to read it like he only got it one time right. Like it's only worth one time. I'm not sure. The words of Rabbi Hananel, he says "V'lo shibach," something like it's not praiseworthy. I'm not sure. But it's a sakana. They say in the postscript say it's a sakana to fast 48 hours, so it's not encouraged.
Some people in Shanghai.
Shanghai is different. Shanghai is different.
The machlokes
Right, because here this is only you have a robe. You have a robe that it's 29, but there wasn't a question of a robe. So if people were machmer over there, different issue. Another story of Nachman Yasser Batanisa Kol Yom Kippur. Nachman was fasting the whole Yom Kippur like everybody. Towards the evening, when he was ready to break the fast, and somebody came and said, "I'm telling you that it's today's was a mistake. Today was the 9th of Tishrei. Now it starts Yom Kippur, so he had to fast another day." And he's telling him the facts. He came before the Gemara said on the top, you don't have to, only if you heard the Bezdin say Mekudesh. It could be this case. He did hear Bezdin say Mekudesh, and he said that, I'm telling you testimony that now is Yom Kippur, so you have to continue fasting. So he did. Rav Nachman continued fasting. Where are you from? Amalei Midem Maharia, from the city called Damharia. Amalei Dam so that you're going to kill me. Means you're killing me. That my end is going to be blood. It means he darshan the name of the city that he came from, Dam Harya, Dam Achriso. So he said that not that he's cursing him. I should have said that my end is going to be blood. Yet I don't know if he shouldn't have told him. He just said now that you told me that Yom Kippur I have to fast now another 24 hours, and I hope I make it. It doesn't say that if Nachman died Yom Kippur, so probably he did make it. And he said the pasuk that says that swift were our pursuers. Over there it's talking about the enemies and Eicha, but he's saying that the fact that you told me that Hashem Kippur now, it's like you're running after my life. And you were swift to come from Eretz Yisrael. It was dangerous, but again, if it would be Sekanas Nefashis, even at one day Yom Kippur also, if Sekanas Nefashis, you stop fasting. But it seems that he made it. And but the point is to say that Yom Kippur, every Yom Kippur is the same suffix as Pesach, Shavuos, and Sukkot, and Rosh Hashanah, and really should keep 2 days. You don't have to keep 2 days because of the suffix. Here it says some cases that they really was the wrong day, and you don't have to be Choshesh, or Rav was always Choshesh, and Rav Nachman, he found out the last minute, and he had to be Machmir, and it was difficult. But Lamaisa, the lach is you don't have to fast 2 days because it's a shash.
These are all people who were in Babel.
Right. New Gemara. This has nothing to do with the subject, and the next Gemara has to do with not even with Ibur Chodesh, it has to do with Ibur Shana. A little Gemara about leap year. And yes, please.
Why did you tell him Macher? He came at night. The Kol Yom Kippur Urta Asa Hu Gavra.
He said tomorrow. Yeah, it means tonight. Tomorrow means the next day. What you taught today is Yom Kippur, tomorrow is Yom Kippur, which means it starts tonight. You're right. The Gemara continues. A little Gemara. I don't know how it comes in exactly, but it's going to be about Ibur Shana. This next Gemara talks about the leap year. And the point of the leap year, so a different subject, I don't know how it comes in, but the leap year, the Gemara is going to say that one of the reasons to make a leap year is if the Pesach, Nisan has to be Chodesh Aviv, it has to be spring, and if it's a late winter, so you have to make a Ibur Shana, you have to make a leap year another month in order to make that when it comes Nisan, it should be spring. If the winter is getting late in the year, winter is still in Nisan, so you have to make a leap year. But the Gemara is going to say more details than that. Shalach lei Rav Huna bar Avin l'Rava. Rav Huna bar Avin sent message to Rava. Kad chazis the mashchat kufas teves ad shisa b'Nisan abel hishata v'lo sachashla. If you see that the winter kufas teves is the way it's saying the winter. Kufas teves is teves shvat adar. That has nothing to do with the months teves shvat adar. That has to do with kufas teves. That means what we call December 22nd until March 22nd. That's the season of the winter. So if March 22nd comes out after the 16th of Nisan, means the winter. If once it comes March 22nd, it already starts the spring. But if it didn't come and it's already the 16th of Nisan, so then leap the year. Not a month. Make a Ibur Shana. Don't hesitate. And he's going to say the reason is because you have to have that it should be Chodesh Av. If it has to be Nisan, we have to see why it's the 16th. We should have said the beginning of Nisan. We'll see in a second. But he says if the 16th of Nisan is still going to be the winter, so make a leap year. To get that it should be spring. The Chsiv Shamas Chodesh Aviv, guard the month of the spring, and the drush is going to be make that it should be spring. Shemor Aviv Shal Kufa Shei B'Chodesh Nisan.
What are they extending another month?
Right. Shemor Aviv Shal Kufa Shei B'Chodesh Nisan. Guard the spring. Aviv, it means the spring. Spring is a solar, right? It has to do with the seasons. That it should be in Chodesh Nisan. Rashi says that Chodesh Nisan doesn't mean the month of Nisan. It means Chidusha Shal Nisan. Is a Rashi to say the Chidush? That the Chidush means the Chidush of the month, which means in the month, the first 14 days is still the new month is still going up. It's still towards the peak, and then it starts going down. And then when the month is older, the moon is waxing and waning. So as long as the first 14 days is still getting bigger. The 15th, Rashi talks about that it has to be that the spring should start within the first 14 days. The spring should start within the first 14 days of Nisan. And if it doesn't, you have to make a leap year. We don't care that the first day of Nisan is still the winter, that's okay. The second day, the third day. But if the first 14 days passed and it's still the winter, that's no good. It has to be the spring should be in the Chiddush of Nisan. So Rashi points out that how come the 16th? It should be the 15th already. The 15th also is too late. It's not the Chiddush anymore. So Rashi says if it would only been one day, we could have gotten into the spring without making a leap year. We could have made a leap month. We could have made that the Adar should be 30 days, and that would have made everything one day earlier, and you would have made that the 14th day of Nisan, it will still be good enough. But if it's already the 16th, it's not going to help you to make it the 15th, so then you have to make a leap year. So that's a point about leap years, nothing to do with our sugi. Our sugi hasn't talked about it at all. We spoke about leap months. Our whole issue was 29 and 30 days, but it comes in one Gemara here about a leap year, that you have to have that the spring should start in the first half of the month of Nisan. If it doesn't,
about gauging the season, and he's got to make that decision already in Adar before the 29th of Adar.
right, true. Chaim was pointing out that you can't make a leap year once it becomes Nisan. You have to do that before. That's true. But this is the calculation. They make the calculation. They know that March 22nd. They know.
Sunday,
They know the seasons. They know the Kupat. Yeah, you know the seasons. Same way we know the seasons. We know March 22nd. Yes, right. So if they're going to make the cheshbon that it's not going to be, it's in the first half of the month. It's not going to be the spring yet, so they have to make a leap year.
Is that called the solstice?
I think so.
Solstice, I think.
Solstice is the extreme of
The two extremes. Okay,
No, that's
But-
equinox.
that's Nisan and Tishrei. It could be Nisan and Tishrei. Here we're talking about when it comes to whatever March 22nd is called. We're looking for March 22nd. That's when the spring starts. So it has to be in the first half of Nisan. The Gemara continues. Where is that? First time, about whatever, 6 lines from the bottom. Amru of Nachman Hanu Nechusei Yama. Nachman said to the sailors, people who went down to the Yam, the sailors, Atun de lo yedisu b'kru de yacha. You out in the ocean, you don't know when it's going to be Rosh Chodesh. So how are you supposed to know when Pesach is? Look at the moon. Ki chazisu siyara de mashlim liyoma b'iru chamira. The words he said to them is when you see that it's a full moon, the whole night. The Gemara's going to ask right away, that's the 15th, they're a day off. But he says when you see that the moon is the whole night, the whole full moon the whole night, which is what happens on the 15th of the month, the beginning of the night. How does it go? The beginning of the night, the moon rises. The moon always rises in the east and sets in the west, just like the sun. It's the same thing. And how big the sun, how big it is, and where do you see it means when it comes night. It could be that it already rose in the east, but you didn't see it because the past 6 hours has been daylight. So sometimes you don't see the moon until when the beginning of the night. You don't see it rising. You see it already in the middle of the sky. But the cycle of the moon is always rising in the east and setting in the west, if you see it or not. It means the sun, you always see it. The daytime, it comes up and it goes down. You don't see it. But the moon, if you see it or not, because it could be that it's there in the daytime, then you won't see it. But if on the 15th of the month, the full moon rises in the east, in the beginning of the night, and the whole night you can see it, means 12 midnight, you can see it on top of the sky. And then towards the end of the night, you're going to see it setting in the west. That's the cycle of the moon. So,
got to go a day before that. So you
I was asking me the Gemara's Kash. Here the Gemara says that you sailors, when you see that the moon finishes the day, which means that it goes the whole night. At the end of the night, you see that it's setting. That's the time that you should destroy the chametz. Biru chamira. That's when you should destroy the chametz. But the Gemara says you're a day late. When is that? That's going to be the night of the 15th. They have to know the night of the 14th. They have to know a night earlier. When it's time to b'dikas chametz when they see the full moon. To b'dikas chametz when it's a full moon. You're supposed to have the Neil Seder by the full moon. So he says that you're telling, when does it happen? Well, on the 15th. We're supposed to do b'dikas chametz on the 14th. The answer is I don't know what the answer is scientifically. I don't know what the answer is, but he says that you people that are in the ocean, you see the full moon on the 14th already. So I don't know why that should be. Some say because there's nothing blocking. Some say because the yam is higher. I didn't look around how to explain that. The words of the Gemara mean that the Magalu Alma, the world is revealed to them, so they see the full moon on the 14th already. Okay, I don't know.
But I thought that with a lot of times the Adim, when they see the moon, if they already, I thought the 15th is going to be from the time of the Molad. And when the Adim see the new moon, wouldn't then, it's already the moon, it's going to be late. When they declare the new month, it could be that the full moon is on the 14th. So it would be right to burn the chametz then.
Yeah,
He's saying,
that's what I
he's saying
understand.
that, he's saying that sometimes because of the difference, the Bezdin might have been Mekadesh the month a day later, so sometimes it'll be, but not always.
But not always. Sometimes the Beis Din may declare it early even, yeah. Okay,
So I don't know what the Gemara asked that it's ready too late. The full moon is ready the 15th, and the Gemara says that in the ocean you can see it on the 14th already. I don't know how to explain that. Amud Beis. Next sugya.
because they don't have anything blocking the horizon, is that what they mean?
Yes, but I would think that even if they don't block that horizon, I would think that the full moon is only on the 15th. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know.
Says, Rav Mill says, Ve'ein lehem harim, mastirim lehem, just like Leib said, me'arbas al maslim, kavar b'yudalad maslim hayareach, u'mamshik leheir biyoim.
So I'm asking, is that the fact? So is that the facts that we see?
Yudalad maslim.
What?
He says it's Metzias, kavar b'yudalad maslim
Yes,
hayareach.
I'm asking if that's the Metzius. Innocent, humble question. Is that the Metzius that we know? The Gemara says in Amud Beis, Al Shnei Hadashim Mechalelen Es HaShabbos. Now we're not talking about till now we've been talking about the shluchim going out. On that, the Gemara is going to say, so you're not Mechal Shabbos at all. As we mentioned before, that the runners they have to stop for Shabbos, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, they don't run. They're sending out a message when it's going to be Rosh Chodesh. They don't Mechal Shabbos for that. Here it's talking about to be Mechal Shabbos in order to come to say testimony that they saw the moon. To that, the Gemara is going to say that sometimes they're Mechal Shabbos. We had the Mishnah mentioned before. The Gemara brought down this Mishnah before. Dafago in order to bring a proof to something. Here's the Mishnah. 2 months the Eidim could be Mechal Shabbos to come say testimony in Bezdin that they saw the new moon. And Rashi says that with the Rashi allow you Mechal Shabbos on all the months, but with Rabbanan they not Mechal Shabbos only when it's necessary, and Nisan and Tishrei is necessary. The Gemara is going to say soon that with a korban it's always necessary, but when there's no korban, so then it's not necessary only to know when the Yom Tovim are. So only Nisan and Tishrei. And the rest of the months, we'll make it off. It'll be Taka day off because the Eidim won't come, even they saw. And Rosh Chodesh will be a day later. It doesn't bother us because it doesn't affect the Moedim. But Nisan and Tishrei, that it affects the Moedim, say Mechal Shabbos to get it on the right day. On 2 months, when now we Mechal Shabbos, the Eidim that saw the new moon to come to testify. And now it says that these 2 months are Chashuv. Shebehen Shluchim Yotzim L'Surya, Uvehen L'Sakten Esamodos. The words say that on those 2 months, it's a Chashuv month, that we send out Shluchim to Syria. Here's where the Mishnah says that the Shluchim got as far as Syria. It's a 10-day travel to go to Syria, and they got there, even Shluchim Tishrei, they got there, even though they couldn't travel on Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and Shabbos, but they got to Syria. And the Gemara is going to ask soon that it's not true. That goes Shluchim go not only these in Tishrei, Shluchim go on all 6 months, like I said before. Al Shisha Chadashim, Shluchim Yotzim. So why does it say here only on Nisan and Tishrei? That's the concept that has to be explained. But so far, the Gemara says that Nisan and Tishrei are Chashiv because the Shluchim go out to publicize it. But these 2 months, that's going to be establishing when the Moedim are supposed to be, when Pesach and Sukkot, and Yom Kippur. So since these 2 months are important, so then Mechal Shabbos to come testify that they saw the new moon. Again, we're not talking, just to make a point of it again, we're not talking about to publicize the new moon. To publicize the new moon, you're not Mechal Shabbos. But to make the new moon, which means that the Eidim who saw the new moon, they come to Bezdin to say, we saw the new moon, and we're going to make Kiddush HaChodesh based on their testimony. For that, you Mechal Shabbos by Nisan and Tishrei, only Nisan and Tishrei, and the other months not. Why are these 2 months special? It's because the Shluchim go to tell everybody. You see that as Chashuv, and the Gemara is going to ask, the Shluchim go on 6 months, not only on 2 months. And also, the importance is because they make the Moedim based on these 2 months. Nisan and Tishrei, that's going to be Pesach, Shavuos, and Sukkot, so it's important to get the right date, and therefore you Mechal Shabbos to get the right date.
And what about the other months?
You're not Mechal Shabbos. So if the Eidim are not going to come on Shabbos, they'll come the next day on Sunday, and they'll say, we saw the moon, and it doesn't even help anymore because it's already going to be over anyway.
Why
What?
do it?
Why do what?
Why send the rest of the month if they're not gonna? They're saying
They're talking about coming to Bezdin to testify they saw the new moon in order the Bezdin should make it Rosh Chodesh. Then there's another point. Are you going to publicize it? That's if they're going to know about it in Beersheba. It's not the business right now. We want to know what is really Rosh Chodesh. So in order to make Rosh Chodesh, you have to have testimony that people saw the new moon. So they're coming to be Mechal Shabbos on these 2 months to say they saw the new moon on Shabbos. On other months, on Iyar, Sivan, they're not going to come. And even if they saw the new moon, they can't come on Shabbos. They have to start traveling Matzah Shabbos. And if it's too late, then it's going to be too late. So then Rosh Chodesh was supposed to be today, but it's not going to be today. It's going to be tomorrow.
So we learned that, Chami, that you can send Shomrim with.
That's later. That's gonna be the next Mishnah. That's the next paragraph. What's coming up? That's only on these 2 months, like I said. Well, that's gonna be expanding or explaining this Mishnah that says Mechal Shabbos, but what is included in the Chil Shabbos. But that's only on these 2 months. On the other months, you're not Mechal Shabbos.
Is that what it means, the Nolad? The Nolad is when you see the moon? Is
The
that what-
Molad means when the new moon when you see the new moon.
So basically, when they call it out at Rosh Chodesh.
That's astronomically when you can see the new moon.
So what's going on is that the Molad, the
People are looking out.
people
Everyone,
looking around, hey, there's the
Yeah,
moon,
it's
and
there.
they're running to basically,
right.
like
right.
this week they'll be running like Friday morning also, Thursday night, running to Yerushalayim to say we saw the moon.
Yes, and then
Now
Bezin will accept Eidim.
Mike Vince says today, Friday.
That's going to be the subject coming up, that they Eidim come to testify, and here it says on Nisan Tishri, even on Shabbos they'll let them come. Ukshai Beis Hamikdash Kaim,
Possible to just say the Rashi on this, that the Shomrim Shluchim, second Rashi.
Bezdin Sholchim Shluche Shal Surya Lodia Lagola Yom Kiv Yosam Hilka Chashivi. Rashi, the Bezdin sends even to Surya, which is a 10 days travel, and to tell everybody when it's supposed to be Rosh Chodesh, and therefore it's Chashav. The Gemara is going to ask that. It's not only Nisan Tishrei; they go on in every month. That's going to be the Gemara's kasha. Minatorah Chalan Al Kulam, but Rabbanan said not to because the Tikkun Modus is not totally on them, so we don't care if it's going to be the right day or not. But these 2 months they went on the Din Torah that because the more month them, so therefore they keep to the Din Torah that you're allowed to be Mechal Shabbos. And the Mishnah ends off, when the Beis Mikdash was standing, then you Mechal Shabbos on all the months because you have to be in the Korban Musaf. And for that, a lot of Mechal, they will be Mechal Shabbos. But after the Korban, there's no more Korban, so then it's only relevant for the Moedim. So only Nisan and Tishrei did they continue to be Mechal Shabbos, but for the other months, not. And Rashi says, but Rashi would be allowed to, only with Rabbanan they stopped it. The Gemara says, the Mishnah doesn't make sense. It says that the Shluchim go out to Soria only on 2 months. No, we said the Mishnah before says they go out on all 6 months. Beis Chadashim, the Sulo, they only go out on 2 months. Means the Chil Shabbos doesn't bother us, but the Mishnah says Shebehen Shluchim Yotzon Soria. That's only on 2 months. The Shluchim will go out every month, not every month, 6 months. But Minhu, Above Chadashim, Shluchim Yotzon. Over there, the Mishnah said before on Nisan and Av and Elul and Chanukah and Purim, it goes in Kislev and Adar. So why does it say that the Shluchim only go out on 2 months? It's not true. Amar Bayach Kamar. Al Kulan Shluchim Yotzon Mi Be'erev. Al Nisan Val Tishrei Ad Yishmu Mi Bezin B'Kodesh. You're right. Shluchim go out on all 6 months, but there's something still special about these 2 months, even as far as the Shluchim going out. Not only as far as the Chil Shabbos to testify, which is what Amish is talking about, but when it says that these 2 months are Chashuv, there's something special about these 2 months. What's special? That the other months, the Shluchim are allowed to go out even before they hear that Bezdin actually consecrated the month. They don't have to hear that Bezdin said Mekudesh, Mekudesh. Later on, we're going to say that Bezdin consecrates the month. And after they accept the testimony that some people saw the new moon, they say Mekudesh, 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 HaChodesh, Mekudesh, that this month is now Rosh Chodesh, right? This day is Rosh Chodesh. But on other months, even if, as long as they know Bezdin is planning to do that, even though they didn't actually hear that Bezdin was Mekadesh the month, once they know that Bezdin accepted the testimony and they're going to now, that's day at night, they know Bezdin is going to, the Eidim are coming, and Bezdin is going to make, they know which day Bezdin is going to make the month, so they go out to spread the news. But Nisan and Tishrei, there's a special halacha that they made that they shouldn't go out, that the Shluchim shouldn't start traveling till they hear that Bezdin was Mekadesh the month. So that's what the Mishnah means to say that there's something special about the Shluchim. Not that there are Shluchim, there are Shluchim on 6 months, but the Shluchim have a different halachos. That in regular months they're allowed to go out as long as they know Bezdin is planning to make their month on which day, even though they didn't actually do it yet. But on Nisan and Tishrei, they only go out after they actually heard it. This is what the Gemara said in Amman Aleph when Levi came and he said that it's I know that it's Yom Kippur today. So they said testify. I said I didn't hear it. And that right, and that the Mefarshim say that based on this halacha that they don't go out. So even if somebody happens to know, but he's not allowed to testify again, they don't trust him, so to speak, unless he actually heard it and he didn't hear it over there also. So here the Gemara says there's something special about Nisan and Tishrei. You don't go out and spread the news until you heard actually Bezdin was Mekadesh. Even if you know that that's the plan, unless you heard it specifically. Tani Namayach, we learned in a price like that. Al Kul and Yosin Reba Erev, and all the other months you're allowed to go even before the night, means before when the day is still day, and you know that the day before, if you know that the plan is to make Rosh Chodesh tomorrow, but on Nisan and Tishrei, Ajish will repair Bezdin Mekudesh. On these 2 months, you can't go out to spread the news until you heard Bezdin specifically say that now it's Rosh Chodesh. Now the Gemara brings a source for all this. How do you know you Mechal Shabbos? Mechal Shabbos to say testimony you saw the moon. Tan Rav 1, Minayin Shemachal and Allah Shabbos. How do you know Mechal Shabbos to testify that you saw the new moon? Tamud Lomar, Elamar, the Hashem Shetikru Osam B'Moad Dam. Since it says b'mo'adam, it means it should be at the right time. These are the mo'adim. You should make them at the right time. B'mo'adam means whatever you have to do in order to make it at the right time. And therefore, if you have to be Mechal Shabbos in order to make it at the right time, also. So you're allowed Mechal Shabbos in order to come testify, in order to make Rosh Chodesh the right day. Yachol Kashem Shem Mechal V'nat She'is Kadshu, Kach Mechal V'nat She'is Kaimu. You might think that the same way Mechal Shabbos in order to consecrate the new month, which means that Edom come to testify, you might think in order that it also should be fulfilled, which means that they should go out, the messengers should also go out to spread the news, also to be Mechal Shabbos on the horseback. They should go on Shabbos also to spread the news. No,
They wouldn't stop
for that, and then you have to stop for Rosh Hashanah, Kippur, and Shabbos. No, for that you're not Mechal Shabbos. To announce them. To announce them means to proclaim them, and not to spread the news. To proclaim it to actually be the right Rosh Chodesh. For that you're Mechal Shabbos. You're allowed to be Mechal Shabbos in order to proclaim it the right day. Proclaim it in Bezdin. If you can't be Mechal Shabbos in order to make it happen, in order that it should be fulfilled, that they should do the Yantif on the right day, for that you're not Mechal Shabbos. So the Shluchim are not Mechal Shabbos to spread the news. But the Eidim, who are coming to say that they saw the new moon, they are Mechal Shabbos to come to Bezdin to say that they saw the new moon, that it should become consecrated as Rosh Chodesh. And that Rashi says that with the rice has on all the months, and therefore when there's a korban, they can Mechal Shabbos. But when there's no korbanos and there's no Yom Tovim, like the other months besides Nisan and Tishrei, so then the Rabbanan said, don't be Mechal Shabbos, even though with the rice that you made. The Mishnah says, when the Beis Mikdash was standing in Mechal Shabbos for all the 12 months in order to make the korban musaf. Originally, during the Beis Mikdash, they were Mechal Shabbos to testify in all the months. After Beis Mikdash was Chorb, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai said, "Is there a korban? So why are we going to be Mechal Shabbos for nothing?" So they made a takana, nothing Mechal Shabbos for testimony, only on Nisan and Tishrei because the Moedim, but on other months, they're not Mechal Shabbos to testify, and the Chodesh will become a 30-day month, and they'll make Rosh Chodesh on Sunday, and nothing happened. Now we go on about the testifying. We're going about the testimony to come to Bezdin, and
Yeah, just getting this right. It's in Nisan and Tishrei, even at a time when there's no Beit Mikdash, you can Mechal Shabbos.
yes. You Mechal Shabbos to come to Bezdin to say you saw the new moon in order to know when it's Rosh Chodesh, in order to know when it's supposed to be Sukkot and Pesach. The Mishnah says, the Mishnah continues now about testimony, testifying, come to Bezdin to testify they saw the new moon. So you might think that if he thinks he's the only person in the world that saw the new moon, so he should come to be Mechal Shabbos. But if it's a clear moon, everybody sees it, so why should he start traveling to come to Bezdin and Mechal Shabbos? If there are people right there in Yerushalayim, they probably saw it also. So the Mishnah says no. No difference if it's seen clearly. The word alil means clearly. No difference if it's a clear day, clear night, and it was clearly seen that you could assume that people closer to Yerushalayim that don't know to be Mechal Shabbos, they also saw it. No. And no difference if it's clear or it's not clear in Mechal Shabbos. Some say that the word alil means high up in the sky. That's just ignorance because there's no moon at the beginning of the month. It's not that there is no month. There is no moon on top of the sky in the first of the month. It's always it's always going to be seen like setting in the west. The beginning of the month, the molar, the beginning of the month is always going to be at Shkia time, a few minutes Shkia time, that you're going to see it setting in the west. And if you come a few minutes less, later it's not going to be there anymore. It's setting. It's setting in the west. The new moon, you're going to see it setting in the west. At always it's setting in the west. That's the
Beginning of the month.
the beginning of the month. It's always a small sliver of the moon that's going to be setting in, and then
I've never seen it down on the bottom. That I always recall.
when
On just after the Rosh Chodesh.
by Rosh Chodesh, right by Shkia time, you'll see it setting in the west. And if you come the next day, then Shkia time, it'll be a little bit higher in the sky, and it'll be going down. And then you come the 7th of the month, then you'll see it in the top of the sky,
Third, like,
half a moon.
half a
Half a moon.
One of the 50.
And the 50th, you're going to see it a whole moon at
That's right.
rising in the east. Rising in the east. Okay. Anyway, the word alil doesn't mean high in the sky. It means clear. I think Gemara is going to say that. Both if the moon is seen clear or it's not seen clear, Mechal and Shabbos. And you don't say that if it's seen clear, why should I be Mechal Shabbos? There are probably people that are closer that don't think Mechal Shabbos. They saw it also, which is really a huge chiddush. I would think, I would think that it's true.
Doesn't Rabbi Akiva take the Karna?
Here we're going. This is it. Rabbi Yossi in there, Ba'alil ein Mechal and Shabbos. Rabbi Yossi argues and says that if it's clear, don't be Mechal Shabbos because there are people obviously that saw it close by. So why be Mechal Shabbos for nothing? There was a story that there were more than 40 pairs of Eidim that were going to Yerushalayim from Lud. Lud is a day's travel from Yerushalayim. So Rabbi Kiva said, don't go, like Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Kiva said like Rabbi Yossi, that don't travel, don't be Mechal Shabbos, because there are people in Yerushalayim that probably could see it, but after Mechal Shabbos for. Shalach lo Rav Gamliel, Ima Akiv Adas Rabbim, Nitzei Smachach Shilo Salavo. Rabbi Gamliel told Rabbi Kiva, you shouldn't do that, because if you're going to stop them, they're not going to go in the future. It means that they're going to think, I tried going and they stopped me. So probably there are people. So then next month he's going to see them on. And even it's not going to be such a clear day. They'll say probably I'm going to go for nothing. So Rabbi Gamliel said, don't stop them. They should also be Mechal Shabbos in order to go, even though you think that probably for sure they're Eidim. It comes out to be a strange thing that you go on the highway and everybody's being Mechal Shabbos. And as you go, you get closer and closer. People sort of move, they're all coming. I don't know what the case is. Hundreds of people going to be Mechal Shabbos and everybody saw the moon. But I don't know. That's what it seems to say. And don't stop them. If people are coming because they saw the moon, don't stop them even if they're Mechal Shabbos. And they're allowed to because they're going to testify. They don't know maybe they're going to be the only Adam that are going to be acceptable. The Gemara continues. Who says that the word alil means clear? Who says that the word alil means revealed? That is a revealed moon.
Is it my mashma?
I think there is somebody that the doctor says me'ei mashma. From where is it mashma? From where is it implied? From where it is implied, it means which pasuk could you dash in to show me that the word alil means clear? Here's the word ba'alil, it's a Hebrew word. The words of Hashem are pure words, pure sayings, like refined silver. Ba'alil la'aretz. So the Gemara is saying that it means clear to everybody. As if it's been refined 49 times. Shivasayim means sevenfold, which means that 7 times 7, and we just want the word ba'alil. That's a Hebrew word found in Tanakh, and it means clear to everybody, clear. So that's what the Mishnah means. We finished whatever we need for the Mishnah, but now once the Gemara brought this pasuk, the Gemara is going to dash in it. Is a Samagarata over here. Rav Shmuel, Machlokes Rav Shmuel. Chadamar 50 shami bina nivru ba'olam b'kula nitnu l'Moshe chaser echad. There were 50 gates of understanding that were created. The 50 levels of understanding created. Hashem created 50 levels of understanding, and all of them were given to Moshe except for one. Shenema but chasrei mat mi Elohim. You made Moshe to be a drop less than Elohim. Elohim would mean malachim, mean somebody who would be able to grasp everything. So that means, based on the pasuk before it said that Shivasayim means 7 times 7. That means 49. And here means that the words of Hashem are 49. 49 would find 49 times. That would mean that Moshe had 49 levels of understanding. And the fact that it says that Moshe was not perfect, he didn't have perfection, he was missing a drop. So the Moshe sees from there that there are 50. If 49 is how much man could grasp, and there's a drop more, that means that there are 50. Because the pasuk Shivasayim means 7 times 7, which means 49. And if that's not complete, because it's still Batachasrei Umat, there's a little bit missing, so that means that there's more. So if there's more than 49, it's 50. That's how we dash that there are 50 Shari Bina. The Gemara continues, if Shlomo also wanted to have
I'm trying to find where the 7 times 7 comes.
the word Shivasayim.
Where you see it?
What is the word Shivasayim? It was the Kak Shivasayim, back in the pasuk. The Gemara said, in Ros Hashem, Amaros Taros, Kesef Seruf Ba'alil Aros, was the Kak Shivasayim. Go back to 2 lines.
Yeah.
So the word Shivasayim means, some say the word Shivasayim means 7 times, but the Gemara is saying Shivasayim means 7 times 7. So
Well, there are 2 sevens.
it's not it's 7 times 7. Doesn't mean 2 7s. It means
I meant
7 times.
I meant
Yeah,
2, you have to
7
do
times
7
7.
with the 2.
So, and here it says that Moshe is a drop, it's not perfect. Then we reach perfection. And he was 49. That's 49. Man was able to understand 49. That means that the Shleimus would be 50. That's how you see 50. Now the Gemara goes in about Malchus. If Shlomo was able to get the same as Moshe or not. That's what it says. The pasuk says in Koheles, Bikesh Koheles Timso Divrei Chayfetz. Koheles desired to find Divrei Chayfetz. And the Gemara says, what does it mean? What did he want? What did Koheles Shlomo Melech? What did he desire? Bikesh Koheles Lios Moshe. Shlomo wanted to be like Moshe. He also wanted to get 49. Because of Yosha Divrei Emes. The end of the pasuk says, because of Yosha Divrei Emes, which the words Nashi, Baskal came and said that look in the Torah. Look at what the Torah says. The Divrei Emes that it says in the pasuk, look in the Torah. Torah says it can't be. Why? Because it says in the pasuk, Yisrael that nobody's like Moshe. So Moshe had 49, that Shlomo couldn't be like Moshe. According to this Gemara, this is the Machlokes, Rav and Shmuel. One of them says that only Moshe got to 49, and Shlomo wasn't able to get that. Shlomo was less than Moshe. Only Moshe is like Moshe. Nobody's like Moshe. Yes, but it's not as big as Moshe. And therefore, he wasn't able to get what Moshe was able to get. But,
So Yosef Divrei Emes is the Yosef Divrei Emes is the end of that pasuk in.
but I think Bikesh Kolos Limso Divrei Chayfetz, V'chosav Yosef Divrei Emes. I think that's all the pasuk, right? And now somebody argues. One of them says that. One of them says no, that Shlomo also got what Moshe got. The Nevi'im lo come, the Malachim come. That it only says will come Novi Obis. There was nobody, no other Novi that got the Madrega of Moshe. But by the kings, Shlomo, he did. There was somebody that was equal to Moshe in wisdom as Moshe, and that means Shlomo did get the Madrega of 49 the same way that Moshe did. But the pasuk says that Koheles was looking for something that he didn't get. Elamani Mekayim Bikesh Kolos Limso Divrei Chayfetz. Why is the pasuk referring to that Koheles wanted that he didn't get? Bikesh Kolos Dinim Shebalev Shlo Ba'edim. He wanted to Shlo Basra. He wanted to be able to paskin, to do judgment, just by knowing what's in a person's heart, even if there's no Edim in Asra. That he should be able to paskin and make a verdict without having testimony. On that, Hashem said, the Torah says not like that. Yes, because of Yosef Divrei Emes, that it says in the Torah, whatever it says in the Torah, that you have to wait him, and if no Edim, even if you know the facts, you're so smart, I'm not going to give you the permission to paskin on Dvorm Shebalev unless you have testimony.
So what did Moshe have at that?
No, to Moshe. Again, the Gemara talks about if there were 49 levels of wisdom, we're still able to get that. Machlokes. Some say that it says, no, only Moshe, nobody else. The other one says that Shlomo also could get it. Okay, but the pasuk says something about that Shlomo wanted that he didn't get. So according to the first shot, he didn't get the 49 that Moshe had. According to the second shot, he didn't get the permission to be able to pass in Din Mishabalev. Even though he was nothing.
Yeah, but we want to reach Moshe.
No, nothing to do with that. According to this dark, he did reach Moshe. As far as the Chach Moshe, he got the same. He got 49. He got 49. But this, and no, yes, that's for sure. No, 50 doesn't do it. No. Two subjects. One is that they had 50 levels of Chachma. Even Moshe Benu didn't get that, only 49. Yes, and even Moshe didn't get that, and Shlomo surely not. The question was if Shlomo could be as much as Moshe. That's the machlokes. One says nobody got what Moshe got. Nobody got 49. Not even Shlomo says. Other one says yes, he did get 49. But what did he not get? Not like Moshe. What did he not get that he wanted? That he got. He wanted to be able to pass in Dinam Shebalev, and that Hashem said no. It has in the top each 9 made. Just a few more lines. Just to finish off the sugya on the next page. Over there, the question was if Mechal Shabbos, if it's clearly seen. So Tanakama says yes. Ben Shneur Balil, Ben Shalom Balil. Rabbi Yossi said not to. Rabbi Kiva did like that, and Rabbi Gamliel said don't do like Rabbi Yossi. You're going to make them nichshal asalavo that they're not going to want to come because they might think other people are going to come. The Gemara says Tanya Rabbi Yehuda Chas v'Shalom Rabbi Kiva Ikvan. Rabbi Yehuda says Chas v'Shalom. I don't know why it's Chas v'Shalom. He was like Rabbi Yossi, but the Gemara says Chas v'Shalom. Rabbi Kiva did like Rabbi Yossi. Ella, it was somebody else. Shazafar Rosha Shel Gedor Ikvan. There was some mayor of Gedor that his name was Shazafar. Rashi says that was his name. How do I pronounce it? Shazfar, whatever you want. The Shalach Rabbi Gamliel, but we do Migdal also. And Rabbi Gamliel demoted him because he stopped these Eidim from coming. If it was Rabbi Kiva, then he didn't demote him. But in our Mishnah says Rabbi Kiva is the one who stopped him. Rabbi Gamliel said, don't stop him. But according to the Gershah of Rabbi Yehuda, it wasn't Rabbi Kiva, Chas v'Shalom, but it was this person, Shazfar, that he was the Rosh of Gedor. Gedor is the name of a city, Gedor. And Rabbi Gamliel took him down from his position because he was stopping the Eidim from coming. Okay, that's good. So to summarize, we have a couple of minutes.
This person is that it wasn't Rabbi Akiva at all. That's what he's saying.
Right, that's what he's saying. It was not Rabbi Kiva, right? It was not Rabbi Kiva or somebody else. I'm not sure why it's a Chas v'Shalom. There's machlokas over here. Yossi held like that. So why is Chas v'Shalom that Rabbi Kiva? I'm not sure why it's considered Chas v'Shalom. There's machlokas going on. So Rabbi Kiva could have an opinion. I'm not sure. But just to go over the Gemara.
Either they was paskening maybe against not to the Navi. The Nasi was not favorable to what he.
Okay.
Maybe that was the problem.
Okay, but after he stopped him, okay, Gamliel said no. Okay, I hear. Just to go over the Gemara said that in Chus Laros they only have a suffix 15 and 16. They don't have no suffix of the 14th. That maybe the 2 months already have been chassid because that would have been a coal. After that, the Gemara says that Levi came to Bavel and he said today's Yom Kippur. But don't believe me because I didn't hear it from the Bezdin specifically. After that, it says that if there's a place which the Shluchim of Nisan could get to because they have more time to travel because they don't have only a Shabbos to stop on. They don't have to stop on Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, so they get further. But Rabbi Yochanan made a gzera that if they're going to keep on their Pesach, then they keep on their Sukkot also. So they have to keep 2 days Pesach, even though they would have known. Rabbi Yochanan. Then the Morgan story, Rabbi used to be a machmir to keep 2 days Yom Kippur. One time it helped him out. Rav Nachman was passing on Yom Kippur. Somebody told him, now starts Yom Kippur, you have to keep fast another 24 hours. And he said, Kalam Hoyer with Feinu, he almost killed me. After that, the Gemara says about the leap year that if you have to have that spring should start in the first half of Nisan. And if not, you make a leap year in order that it should happen. If you have only one day off, you could make a leap month. But if it's more than that, it's going to be the 16th of Nisan. It's still going to be the winter. So then you have to make a leap year in order to make that there should be a Chodesh Adar. The Gemara says that those are the sailors that they wanted to run as Pesach. So when they have to do B'dikas Chametz, they should do it when it's a full moon at the end of the night, which means the 15th. The Gemara says that it's 15th. It's too late. It's already Pesach. So the Gemara says on the ocean you can see the full moon on the 14th already. Or I don't know, we see the full moon. The Gemara talks about that the moon goes till the end of the night. That's even on the 14th.
Maybe they can tell that on the 14th that it's almost the
Okay. Then I know what we talk about testifying. Tell them we spoke about shluchim. Now we're going back. We're going backwards in time chronologically. That before shluchim go out, the testimony comes to best that they saw the new moon. So it talks about being Mechal Shabbos, and the Gemara explains according to Rashi that with the Rashi like being Mechal Shabbos on all the months because it says Shetik Rosam B'Mo Adam, and with Rabbanan they took off this Chol Shabbos only on Nisan and Tishrei. Over there, he kept it because of the Moedim. On the rest of the months, only if it's a question of the Kol Musaf, so then you Mechal Shabbos. But when it's Obes HaMikdash, only Mechal Shabbos testify for Nisan and Tishrei because Tikkun HaMoedos. Also, the Mishnah says that there's something special about the shluchim going out. The Gemara says the shluchim go out in every month, but there is something special on 6 months, not all 12 months, on 6 months. But the Gemara does say something special about Nisan and Tishrei, that the shluchim only could go out after they heard that the Bezdin consecrated the month. Even if they know what the plan is, they can't go out until they actually heard the actual Kiddush HaChodesh.
And they can't Mechal Shabbos.
On the rest of them, they can't be in the Chodesh. What do you mean? On Nisan and Tishrei,
You say shluchim. You say shluchim from Yerushalayim
to spread the news.
to the goal.
To spread the news.
They cannot mechal or they can mechal.
No, never Mechal. The only Mechal Shabbos is
To be aided.
Right.
Then coming to Yerushalayim to let them know.
To the Bezdin, to not to let them know, to testify by Bezdin.
Testify that we saw the moon. blah,
Right,
blah,
and
blah.
Bezdin will make the Kiddush HaChodesh. After that, to publicize it to everybody, you're not Mechal Shabbos at all. And now the Gemara is saying,
that can always be mechal. That you can. That you allow mechal to bring aid to testify.
for Nisan and Tishrei only.
Oh, even not the rest of them.
Only Nisan and Tishrei.
Okay,
You never
then
Mechal
basically
Shabbos.
we'll
You
rely on
never
the
Mechal
aid.
Shabbos to publicize it. Never Mechal Shabbos to publicize it. Even Nisan and Tishrei. To testify, you only Mechal Shabbos on Nisan and Tishrei because the Moedim, when the Beis Mikdash was standing in Mechal on all of them to testify in order to get the Korban on the right day. And the Gemara says Yochanan Zakkai was the one who made this Rabbanan that after the Korban not to be Mechal Shabbos for the rest of the months because you don't need to cover Korban Musaf anymore. Only for Nisan and Tishrei because of the Moedim. The Mishnah spoke about if the moon is seen clearly, so are you Mechal Shabbos? Probably somebody close by saw it already. So Machlokas Tanakama says you Mechal Shabbos even if you think that it's a clear night. But Rabbi Yossi said not. Rabbi Kiva did like Rabbi Yossi and he stopped Eidim and Lud that he shouldn't have to travel further and be Mechal Shabbos because probably people so close to Yerushalayim. But Rabbi Gamliel said if you're going to stop them, they're not going to go next month again. Other months when they're going to say, why should I go for? There are other people anyway, as they call Chaval al Azman. So don't stop them, make the dish. Even in Mechal Shabbos, they're allowed to. And the Gemara says a proof that the word alil means clear from the word keset saruk alil haaretz. Aga, once the Gemara about this pasuk, it means that this is the source that you find out that there are 50 Sha'ar Bina because it says that Amos Hashem Amor's Torah Shebasayim, which means 49, and it says that Moshe was a little bit less than perfection. So that means that there were 50 altogether. He only had 49. The Gemara is Machlokes if Shlomo Melech was able to get what Moshe got in that, was able to get the 49. Some say will come be old Navi be Yisrael Moshe. So nobody's like Moshe. So Moshe's 49, Shlomo's less. Madama says no, only Benavi will come, but Malachim come, and the king could be. Maybe Shlomo did have 49, but what did he not get? He didn't get the permission to paskin dinim shebalev without Eidim and Asra. And the last Gemara says that some Rabbi Yehuda said there wasn't Rabbi Kiva who stopped them, Chas v'Shalom, but it was Shezapar that was the mayor over there of Gedor, and he stopped them, and Rabbi Gamliel demoted him from his position.
Rebbe,
It's called a Ramat Geder in Israel, but that probably wasn't it.
Yeah, then right.
Not get it.
That's it, probably. Yeah.
Not get it.
But I just looked on Google Maps. It's it's in the Galil. It would take 29 hours. Oh, they didn't go by foot, right? They went by, we don't know.
Are you saying they could have gone also not by foot? They could have gone by horseback or camel. Could be.
Thank you.
Google says it takes 29 hours to walk it.
Yes, please.
29 wood.
Your Shailan Chas v'Shalom, it says here, Rabbeinu Chananel, Hevi as Divrei HaYushalmi, Kol HaMa'akev Es HaRabbi Milasos Mitzvah Chayev Nidui. Ubahagos Yofe Naim Hevi as Divrei HaYerushalmi Shereben Gamliel Hu Shalach Devarim Elu LeRebbe Akiva Shama Akev Es HaRabim Lasos Mitzvah Chayev Nidui. And then there's Ivans, but I'm not going to bring that because it's a little longer.
But I'm still bothered that if there's a machlokes going on, some say that if it's a mitzvah, it's a mitzvah. Don't be marked as a mitzvah. But they say that it's not a mitzvah because that people know it. The machlokes the Mishnah was that since it's a clear night, so it is obviously Mechal Shabbos. Well, they're not doing a mitzvah.
The Shilas Yavitz gets into the fact of being done, whether it happened b'chol or b'Shabbos, and he proves it happened b'Shabbos. And his last line is V'hari shemechali mes haShabbos afilu al haShabbos v'al kain shalom min aroi yasa b'zeh she'akvam v'harik b'zeh sham v'hisik shezeh haya b'Shabbos.
I hear, but I don't understand because if there's an issue that don't be Mechal Shabbos because they probably know, so there's a valid machlokes, and if Yossi held like that, so how could you say Chas v'Shalom? There's a valid shita that they're saying that there's no reason to Mechal Shabbos in this case. The Yesod that learn out, don't be Makav Rav Melasses mitzvah, surely we should learn out. But here the question was, is it a mitzvah? There's no mitzvah because there's so many people that know probably anyway. The scene seems very difficult to me. You're going on the highway, on Tel Aviv Yerushalayim highway, and you're being Mechal Shabbos, and as you go closer and closer, more people are coming in from all the entrances on the highway, and they're all either with the cars, and everyone's coming, you have, what happens? You have like a backup of people being Mechal Shabbos to say they saw the new moon, and everyone's in Yerushalayim, they say we have one saw the moon, and you keep on going to Yerushalayim. So I don't get the case. Everyone's being Mechal Shabbos because they saw the moon. It's a clear night. Everyone saw the moon. Why should they have to come a day's travel away because maybe it's best than needs me? And as we're going, we have 40 groups, 100 groups. So what's the gvul? What's the share? Is that how it's going to look on Rosh Chodesh, Nisan and Tishrei, that everyone's going on the highway on Shabbos? Like, I don't get the picture.
It seems to be that the law will be revised.
No, I don't know. I'm just asking that. I don't understand. I don't understand the case. No, I'm not. I'm asking. I'm not saying. I'm just trying to present.